home self, and we have a self with friends. And what is that as a kid? That's classroom, playground, home. So I'll typically take people through this process of where were you around authority figures, which is like classroom or home? What were you around when all your friends were around? You got made fun of, or you had to become really small. And that goes on the friends side of the triangle. And that talks about how the social patterns that are going to show up for me. And somebody says, well, I keep attracting these negative people into my life. Why do I do that? And that goes to these patterns, because if I do this, I know this is going to happen. I know that's going to happen. It's just completing a story archetype. So that's the childhood development triangle. And it is really powerful to start understanding our own patterns. And I'm not saying that you can go out there and there's like, here's 6 steps that are going to change your whole freaking life if you do these 6 things. The awareness is what you want. You want massive, like, self-knowledge and self-awareness. With the side agreement of I am not special and I'm completely okay if I'm never understood. Because most of what happens when we get into arguments with our spouse, we get into these bitchy arguments with people at work, it's our argument to be understood more than it is for us to come to a solution. I need you to understand me. So getting okay with the idea that you might never ever be understood is like step number 1. Number 2, I am not special. And that helps us to open the door to start coming into a lot of these things. But if you're a leader at work, you can start seeing these patterns in your employees, and you can be like, I see an 8-year-old there. And if you get to a point where you're seeing some of these, a behavior that might have pissed you off in somebody that works for you, and you're like, wait a second, now I can see exactly what's going on because this, and this probably happened. You don't need to make some prediction or fortune-telling thing about their childhood, but you're starting to see these patterns, and you know now how your team's going to respond in conflict. And if it's a conflict and it's social, you're seeing all their friends' patterns. If it's a conflict and somebody might be losing their job, you're going to see their safety patterns come out, and you'll see your own.
So do you think I should go to the key people in my life, maybe my team, and ask them these questions around how did you make friends? Is that the question?
What did you do to make and keep friends?
What did you do to make and keep friends? And what was the safety question again?
Like what did you need to do or avoid to feel safe?
And the rewards one?
What did you feel, and this one's always, you want to put the word feel in there. What did you feel like you had to do to earn rewards? And what were rewards to you?
Okay.
It was appreciation, or somebody that's like hyper significance driven. Like, I've got to have the Rolex, I've got to have the Ferraris and all this kind of stuff. They never got rewards because their parents ignored them unless they brought home a certificate. Their teacher called and said they did a good job. They played the piano recital and did a great job. And lots of people were acknowledging them and clapping for them. They only got acknowledged when they were socially significant.
And am I right in thinking here that these are fundamentally interlinked in many ways? Because when you're talking about safety, I was running through my head the things that made me feel safe, and they were rewards that I could tell my friends about.
Yeah.
So I touched all 3 of them, and in part because I was thinking I was very different to my social group when I was younger. We were the black family. There wasn't another black family that I knew of, other than maybe one other kid, I think, in the area in Plymouth in 1994 or 5. So some of the material things I wanted, like the shoes that everyone had, made me feel safe because they made me fit in.
Yep.
And that got me friends.
Yep.
Or at least I thought it did. So for me, it really was like an interconnected triangle.
Yeah.
That's just one of many examples that I could think of.
It does tend to do that. And I will typically wait for somebody to figure that out. And as they're filling it out, they're kind of like, oh, I did this because of this to get to this. Mm-hmm. And you'll see a little cycle start happening. But it's great for self-knowledge. But if you're a behavior profiler, that's what's going to run people. You're going to know how they're going to respond to conflict. You're going to know what they're going to avoid. You're going to, if you're putting teams together, I know what people I want to have working with each other. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be some complex 9-hour thing. Like, you can see this stuff in everyday life.
And you're not saying that I need to radically change.
No.
But what if one part of this triangle, or one behavior I've learned for safety or for rewards or for friends, is making my life worse?
Yeah.
You know what? It could be ruining my life. Like it could be the thing standing in the way of me having a romantic relationship or getting promotion or building a business. It's like getting in the way now.
Yeah.
What do I do, Chase?
So you've identified the pattern. Let's assume that you've got it. You're like, oh, I've got this shit that's happening on repeat. The part 2 of this is I need to focus on that being a kid. That belongs to a child. And I need to write down like this. Here's how that child wrote the contract, made the promise to themselves, developed the contract. And then even if you make it up, like I'm going to write down a little thing. When did this kid bring it into adulthood? I need to stay small in order to stay safe. Let's say it's one of those things. And then you just start telling yourself that is a child's voice. That's a child's voice. So the voice is not going to go away. That's the sad part. That's like you trying to not complete the sentence, Mary had a little in your head. You can't get rid of it. No matter how hard you try to delete that, it's repeated over years and years, just like one of these things. What truly changes for you is hearing a child, hearing a misguided child who developed a coping mechanism for the world, not knowing that they just assumed I'm going to have this forever. I'm going to need this as an adult. I'm going to bring this into my adult life. Part 2 of this is you make like a wallpaper or something for your desktop. And we're talking about being negatively motivated. We're away from negative things. You make a motivational wallpaper that has your big limiting belief on it, and then take it to an extreme. I had a client that had this, if I stay small, I'm going to be safe. And he was in a business, like he owned a business, but he wouldn't go get these big clients and he wouldn't go do this. And the guy's got 3 kids. And I said, I want you to make a desktop wallpaper that says, my kids don't deserve for me to be successful. And I want you to look at it every single day when you turn your computer on, because that's exactly what your belief is saying. Because if your kids truly deserved it, it would override the belief. So you just need to write the belief in plain English. And what it's truly, truly costing you in your life is my kids don't deserve me to be successful. My kids don't deserve money. And that's what it comes down to. And every day you look at it, you have a feeling of disgust, and there's a hyper awareness of that thing running in your head. You're going to be more prone to hear it when it does come up,